Welcome back to the 128 KB podcast. We are back once again to, yes, you guessed it, lack of popular demand. It is your weekly dose of all things gaming from him and me.
Yep.
That's right, the gaming podcast. And this week, we introduce to you something that you've probably already got if you're into the Steam Deck.
Yes. Yeah.
What we're calling, well, I'm calling the slow deck.
The slow deck. The stoled?
Stole deck. Stole deck.
Stole deck. That's if you've stolen one.
The old deck.
The old deck.
Oh, the old deck.
Old deck.
Old is. I'm introducing
Oli
the
deck?
old deck. Whatever. The OLED Steam Deck is here.
Oh, yeah.
I say it's here. Andy bought it.
Of course.
As soon as it was announced, he tried flogging his Steam Deck to everyone he's got their phone number of. And if you're in his contacts, you probably got a text too.
Yep.
Managed to sell it to some unknowing pawnbroker near you who bought it for the same price that you paid for it.
Yes. Direct from Valve, which was great. I mean, it was modded, but, you know.
Okay, so you'd upgraded the hard drive, put a back case on.
Yeah, and put a sticker on the front.
Covered it in stickers.
It had a vinyl on it.
Yes, for those of you that watch Andy's channel, you'll have seen the mods he did to it over time.
Yeah.
But you sold it day one, the announcement.
Yep.
Managed to get top dollar for it.
Yes.
And then basically play nothing for the OLED.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's great. Good. It's good going. Good for you.
Got the 512 gig.
It arrived.
Yeah.
And
it actually didn't arrive.
No.
Because of Parcel Force.
Damn you, Parcel Force.
I hate Parcel. I've always hated Parcel Force. I literally always.
Go on, right. Go on.
This is what this episode's about. Is how bad Parcel Force are. I mean, what's that comedian? The one with the flappy head.
Donald Trump?
No. Lee Evans.
Right. Yeah, okay.
I'm going off piste here.
You really are.
Yeah, massively. He did a sketch probably about 15, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And he does a whole thing hating on Parcel Force.
Okay.
Where he's like, he was like, what's attempted delivery? You know? He was like, what? Do they get to your drive and go, I can't make it? And then he goes, attempted delivery. You know? And that's what they did with me.
Right.
They didn't even drive down my lane. And they went, nah, sorry, send him back to the depot. And I went, what? I was waiting there for my hour time slot, waiting. Nothing happened. So I had to wait an extra day. And then it came.
I didn't realise you'd be so angry about getting a Steam Deck.
It really annoyed me because I wanted it that day.
I know you did.
I bought it day one. Yeah. I was there literally when it went live. It took 25 minutes of refreshing because the website crashed.
The demand, I think, even surprised them. Valve.
Yeah, it crashed their servers.
And you were like, I can't check out. So I was like, I'll have a look. I went in and had exactly the same problems. Like I thought maybe if I buy it, then you just pay me back or whatever.
Yeah.
No, nothing. So then I go on Twitter and everyone's like, it's crashed. It's crashed.
25 minutes it took.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it took, 9 days for them to deliver it?
But to be fair, to put some positivity back in the room.
Yeah.
That's a lot longer than it could have been if they had just done the announcement, took a pre-order and said,
like they did originally,
February.
Because originally with the Steam Deck LCD, that was huge waits, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was like Q1, Q2, and it was a long time. I mean, I bought mine this year. My LCD version I got in January, I think it was. So
and you were a good year after release, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. And I got it when it was first actually available without wait.
Yes.
So literally as it went to
because we did a whole why I'm not pre-ordering it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'd waited a good year or whatever it was.
What a roller coaster of love and hate it's been for the Steam Deck with us.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, we started off like meh.
When it got announced, they're like, we'll wait and see. Definitely not pre-ordering it because I'm not going to be a beta tester.
Exactly. And now look at it. It's freaking.
Well, now look at it. You were like queuing up to buy the upgrade.
Absolutely. Day one, like I said.
As were clearly thousands of other people that crashed the website.
Yes.
My first experience of it was this morning.
Yeah.
I was excited for it after seeing the announcement, and then we covered it in a previous podcast. It seemed like Valve had just done a slam dunk on handheld gaming.
I know.
It really did. In the same week that PlayStation announced release the Portal, it was like,
the Portaloo,
that's
you mean?
Cute. That's cute. You can stream from your PS5, kind of.
Yeah, not really.
Even if you're in the same room, kind of.
You can watch a slideshow on it. Yeah.
I get higher FPS playing Flashback. Yeah, I'm going there.
You guys listening have got a treat for a future podcast.
I'm so angry about that game. I can't even remember what I was talking about.
You were saying about your first impressions.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So my first impressions. Well, this morning I was very excited in the lead up, obviously, and that's what I was saying. And then I get to see it this morning. I walk in here. You're already sat in there playing it on the sofa, and then just see it over your shoulder. I'm like, and I actually said out loud, I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
it looks so good.
It really does.
Nothing you see online will do it justice.
No, it won't. Yeah, no.
In the flesh, an OLED panel it's like a generational leap in graphics. Even though the graphics aren't actually better, it's like the difference between, I don't know, the Sega Genesis and the PlayStation 1. That kind of huge leap.
It's a massive leap, isn't it? Like,
whoa.
Because obviously you experience games with your eyes.
Yeah.
So playing on, like, that's my number one thing I hated about the first Steam Deck. That LCD panel was horrendous. Like, it sucked, like massively sucked. The backlight bleed was awful.
It was bad, yeah.
Like, it was terrible, and whilst I loved everything about the Steam Deck and what you could do, and I had so much fun, like, every time I picked it up, that was the one thing that I thought, man, this sucks.
You said day one, didn't you? You said, if they release OLED, I'm buying it.
Absolutely. And that was the second I'd opened the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Like, because I loaded up the first time I played a game on it, I was like, this is fantastic. I'm already in love, but that screen needs to go. So if they release an OLED, I'm buying it. And lo and behold, they did.
Yeah, it's jaw-dropping good.
Yeah.
They've just won Handheld Gaming.
Yes, they really have.
And that was my experience in the first 5 seconds of looking at it over your shoulder. I was like, yeah, they've won.
Yeah.
It's everything.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
It's a nicer screen than the Switch OLED.
Yeah.
Even though the Switch OLED is absolutely fantastic, the sheer fact that this is a 90 hertz HDR display, that HDR really changes it as well. Again, that just makes it look so different.
It's that dynamic range, isn't it? It's massive.
It's insane.
I want to address straight off the bat a controversial issue.
Okay, yeah.
Now, when we covered the launch and the announcement and our excitement, we were teetering on the 512 versus 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
And why not getting the 1 terabyte? There was one key reason why not to.
Yes.
And that was the etched display, wasn't it?
The etched glass, yeah.
We said some very strong things. I say we.
Yes.
That's kind of diverting the blame away from you. You said some very strong things.
I did. Yeah, I absolutely did say some strong things.
You're like, well, what's the point? Getting etched display, it's going to reduce some of the advantages you get with having that OLED panel.
Absolutely, yeah.
What was the first thing you did to your Steam Deck?
Put an etched glass screen protector on it.
So you got the 512 one after hating on the etched glass thing.
Yes.
And then you bought an etched glass screen protector just to see what it'd be like.
Yeah.
And then you were sending some pictures to me and I was like, mate, if it reduces the reflections that much, the difference is negligible.
Yeah.
And you were like, actually, when it's on there, it kind of looks a bit more premium.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the whole point I did this was for you guys out there, listeners and viewers, I bought the 512 on purpose to get the glossy screen.
Yes.
Little did I know about the Samsung versus BOE panel difference.
We'll address that in a minute.
We'll address that. But I was like, glossy, hands down. That's the way I experienced my OLED, my Switch OLED, I mean. And I've had no issues with that. I've never experienced an etched glass display. I missed out on the LCD model because I actually bought the 64 gig and then upgraded it. So I was like, I'm going glossy route. And then as I bought it, I was like, I've got to do a video for the fans, like comparing. So I was like, right, I'm going to get the JSOX etched glass, anti-reflective, whatever, screen protector pack. And in my head, I thought, I'm sacrificing myself here because I'm going to stick it on, I'm going to do a video and then immediately pull it off because I'm going to hate it because it's going to negate, the contrast, the saturation. Do you know what I mean? I was like, and it's going to not be as sharp because of the nature of etched glass. So I just immediately in my head had this, I'm going to hate it, but I will do it for the viewers. And that video is not even out yet. I haven't even edited it. But as I filmed myself doing it, I immediately went, whoa. This is actually, do I like this?
Yeah.
I was like, No, I don't like it. No. Let's find the problems, right? And in my head, I'm like, no, I can't justify this, you know.
And how easy you were to push over the edge was you text me going, this is the comparisons, what do you think?
Yeah.
And I was like, if the reflections are that much reduced, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I could be convinced. Like,
Yeah. I prefer it now.
And seeing it in the flesh, I now understand why the etched glass is on the most expensive version.
Exactly.
Because it does look
It
expensive.
feels more premium, doesn't it? It literally feels more premium. It's really weird. Like the second I put it on, I was like, whoa, like this is so weird. And I swear you don't lose contrast or saturation.
That's what I was just going to say. Like, what is the sacrifices here? Yes, objectively, there is a difference.
Yes. Yeah.
But honestly, I think you're talking less than 1%.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to really quantify it.
Yeah.
It's very hard to see. When you've got a lot of white,
That's the most obvious.
that's when it's a lot, it feels like there's like a film grain on
Absolutely.
it. But very fine.
Yes. Yeah. And that was one thing that I couldn't put my finger on was how to describe it.
Yeah.
And when you said, I was like, look at this white screen. And you said like, oh, it's like film grain. I went, that's a perfect description. It literally is like film grain. And obviously all the text, instead of it being like overly sharpened, it's more like of a, I don't even want to say blurry, but it blurs the pixels by like 0.5%.
Yeah, and
So
to use the word blur is really doing it disservice because it's
soft. Yeah, like
very, very slightly soft.
but so like if you hadn't seen before and after, or if you weren't hypercritical being pointing out it, you know, you probably wouldn't even notice. And to be honest, the reduction in reflections is absolutely insane because the glass is like a mirror.
Yeah.
And like I said before, you know, you could have a light source a mile away, and if it's in the right direction, it will reflect. Whereas this anti-glare thing, you can have a light source 2 meters away and it's gone.
Yes.
Like entirely.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even reflect because it just completely dissipates it. And in the studio is where I went, wow, I've got RGB LEDs all around me. I've got lights all the way around me. And immediately I just went, I can see this now whilst I'm filming it. And I was like, I actually kind of like this. And I went, now I'm going to go out of the studio environment into a normal person's life. You know, went into the sitting room, played downstairs and stuff, day and night. And I was like, I'm loving this. And I think I'm going to leave it on.
Yeah, I would.
But the good thing is I've got the choice.
Yeah.
And I can remove it and know I've got a glossy screen under. And that's my issue is whilst, yes, I do feel like I know why now they've added the etched glass because it absolutely feels more premium. I'm fully behind that now, even though I didn't expect myself to be like this. I thought it'd be the other way. I'm kind of still annoyed that they don't just give the option. So you can either choose, I want a 1 terabyte limited edition with a glossy screen or etched, or why the hell didn't they just do gloss on everything and give you a screen protector? Because if you buy the 1 terabyte model and stick a screen protector on it, now you're going to have an even worse image quality because you're putting even more things over it, you know?
I think objectively it is the most premium looking and feeling way of experiencing it.
Yeah.
It might not be the absolutely most natural, but I think they've put it on the expensive model because it is the most premium looking and feeling.
Yeah. And when you see it in person, it makes sense, you know.
Totally makes sense.
It does make sense.
But I think you've probably made a smart choice in getting the 512 with the gloss panel and then sticking a decent screen protector on it, etched one. Because that, like you say, you've got the choice of taking it off if you really don't like it. But inadvertently, you've managed to stumble upon another big advantage of the 512 over the 1 terabyte.
Yeah, which is really weird. And I thought this would be the other way round.
100%.
But there's 2 different panels that Valve are using in the OLED, which, you know, I would have thought was regional. I thought it'd be like, okay, in Europe, they're using this, just like with mobile phones.
Yeah.
You know, they use one type of processor in one region, another type of processor in another. And it's meant to be the same, but they never are. Yeah, you know, because it's not the same. Exactly. And that's what they've done here. But what it happens to be is the limited edition model and the 1 terabyte model are apparently using BOE screens, which is best on earth. That's the company that manufactures.
Not a statement.
Yeah. Well, I suppose they're trying to make a statement with that company. Yeah. And they're apparently one of the leading OLED like panel makers from like the 90s or something, right? But with those screens, people are reporting dead pixels on so many of these models. And it happens to be that the 512 gigabyte model is using a Samsung panel, which nobody's reporting dead pixels on.
And one of the things Samsung are best known for is their panels.
Absolutely. And Samsung are currently suing BOE for stealing their property or something. So
savage.
Why Valve have used this company on the 1 terabyte models, I have no idea.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I don't know why they would have done that.
I don't know. Like, it doesn't really make any sense, but okay. Like,
yeah.
And I would have thought it'd be the other way around. I thought it'd be the 512 model got the cheaper panels, you know, and
maybe the BOE ones are more expensive.
Possibly. Maybe Valve didn't realize. Yeah.
Maybe there's an advantage to them
in another way. Yeah.
On paper, you know.
Yes.
Maybe there's some kind of. Maybe it's slightly more efficient, or I don't know.
No idea. It should be exactly the same, but I have no idea. But I've checked, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but basically you can find a bit of code online and you enter it into the console, and then it will give you like a serial number kind of thing with a load of text. And if it says 03, it's a Samsung panel, which mine is, I've checked. And if it's 04, then it's the BOE, and that's found on the 1 terabyte models. So luckily I got the Samsung model.
I'd be pretty sure though, customer service wise, if you end up with dead pixels on your panel, I'm pretty sure they'd be
you're
replacing
spending enough money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Negatives now are done. Now we can just froth about it.
Yeah.
So I got to experience it, actually playing it after I ripped it from your hands.
Yes, I was like,
give it to me.
Playing a £1.74 game.
So, I mean, Steam library, man.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And there was something else that you've installed on here that made me also go, oh man, I really should be getting one. But £1.74 for Star Wars Squadron.
Yeah.
It's probably the best £1.74 you're ever going to spend.
It's insane.
So good, man.
And it's meant to be like 35 quid full price. So that's a massive reduction.
I'd pay £35 for that game happily.
I would, yeah, I would.
I never played it.
Never even heard of it until I saw the sale.
I'd heard of the name. I'd never really even looked at it. To be honest, I tend to avoid Star Wars games.
Yeah, I get you.
Because they're more often a miss than a hit.
Yes, yeah, no, I do get
There's a lot of them as well.
Yeah. The new ones,
especially if you include the Lego franchise as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you do tend to have some duds in there. This almost feels like it was made perfectly for a handheld gaming experience.
It does, doesn't it? It's so good, especially on that OLED panel.
Yeah.
Like all those explosions and it's not even an HDR game, but all the like lasers and when you're flying around those like planets, the environments just look fantastic.
So good. Such an awesome experience. And it was locked in at 90, wasn't it?
90 FPS. What is with that? Like, I bought that game for £1.74 thinking probably struggle to hit 30 FPS.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's all right. If it plays at 30, I can deal with that. And I went into the game. I didn't even test it first. I went into the settings, went medium, that'll do. Loaded the game, locked in at 90. I went, what? 90 FPS?
It's so good in your hands with that OLED panel. 90 FPS. It just looks phenomenal, and it almost feels like you're in it.
It's nuts, isn't it? Yeah.
Something also about the tiny displays. The tiny bezels, on the display.
Yeah.
The really deep blacks that you're getting.
Yes.
It like draws you right in.
It's like tunnel vision, isn't it? Yeah.
It becomes like the whole Steam Deck is the screen.
It's the screen, yeah. Because it's
hard to explain.
0.4 increase in size.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it's that OLED panel really does hone you in. And I kept saying to you, it's the smallest change that made such a huge difference is the color of the buttons.
Yeah.
You know, the text is now, instead of being white, is like a dark gray. And that really reduces the distractions and keeps your eyes like immersed in the game. And because when I heard that, I was like, why have they changed the color of the buttons? I thought, I like it. It looks cool and moody. But I was like, it's a bit weird. And then as soon as I started playing, I was like, this just makes so much sense.
I don't want to be over the top, but I'm obviously known for being slightly over the top. It honestly, especially playing a game at like 90 FPS on that OLED, and like I say, that kind of focusing effect that it has, it almost feels like you're playing like an augmented reality game. Like
I get you.
Like I've not got a controller.
Yes.
I'm like
you're in it.
The game.
Yeah.
It's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal.
It's fantastic, isn't it? You really do zone in.
Yes.
And I think that is so much more apparent with an OLED display.
Yeah.
Because you're not going, oh, look at that light bleed. Oh, why is it grey? Do you know what I mean? Like Star Wars Squadron on the LCD, whilst I'm sure it'd be great, I reckon because you're in space, there's lots of black.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to look right.
Kind of blue.
Yeah. It's all hazy and like grey, like, you know, rather than actually, wow, I feel like I'm in space.
Yeah.
You know, which you definitely get with this.
Yeah. I mean, just to repeat the point, and the difference between an LCD and an OLED panel does feel like you've just stepped up
it's phenomenal.
An entire generation of gaming.
It feels like the resolution's higher.
Yes.
Like absolutely it does. And like you said, it feels like you've gone next gen.
Yes.
Even though it's just a panel swap.
Yeah.
Like it's mad. I know it's not just a panel swap in this. They've done so much. But like
stealthily though.
Yeah, stealthily, yeah. But I mean it is crazy. The first thing for me when I opened the deck when it finally came, you know, and I opened the case and I lifted it out and I was like, it really does feel lighter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I saw the reviews of other people going, it's only 30 grams difference, but you can notice it. And I thought, can you? And as soon as I lifted it up, I went, you can.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, and I suppose it's because it's so well balanced in your hands that you actually feel that, like, reduction in weight. And that's brilliant, you know, because obviously with a handheld, you want, like, comfort. Yeah, and you want battery life and a good screen. And the comfort definitely is aided by that reduced weight because over time you're going to get better play time, you know?
Let's talk about battery life then, because that's actually a really important point. You've just touched on it.
Yeah.
Obviously with handheld gaming consoles, the more demanding the game, the more processor intensive, the more graphic intensive game that it is.
More heat.
You're going to reduce your battery life significantly.
Yeah.
We're kind of used to that like 1 to 2 hour mark as being the kind of, that's what you're going to get.
Yep.
What's been your experience so far with the OLED?
It's ridiculous. Like the battery life is so good. Like it really is. And when they said, the battery life's up to 50% better. And I was like, okay, it's a 25% increase in actual physical size in terms of watt hours, but because of everything else that's more efficient and the OLED screen and the new APU and the new fan and all this blah 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 blah, it equates to up to 50% better. And I was like, if that's true, that's going to be phenomenal because obviously everyone's pushing for, I want more power, more graphics, blah blah blah. It's like you got to remember this is a handheld. You're not sat next to an outlet like what the Legion Go and the Ally is going to be essentially, which are great devices, but really you're going to be tethered to a massive power bank or the wall, you know. And the Steam Deck LCD, I was like, yeah, it's all right, but looking at an hour and a half maybe of battery life before the thing conks out. This is double that, like at least, you know, you're looking at like at least 3 hours for a AAA game, you know. And then as I was showing with you, like playing other titles that we don't need 90 FPS for. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. And if you're conveniently near an outlet after a few hours to charge it, great. But you can tinker with the TDP, change the, you know, the refresh rate of the screen and get double the battery life. Yeah, we got up to like 6 hours. We'd already been playing for an hour, didn't we? Oh yeah. Yeah, we then changed it up to 6 hours, which all we did was half the frame rate. Yeah. So we just capped the screen at 45, which is still amazing. For the type of games we were then playing. We were looking at some older games. Yeah. And so 45 FPS, drop the TDP down to between 5 and 7 watts. It's like, oh, here's some 6 hours battery life. Yeah. It's like, what? Like, this is insane. And we could drop that down even more. You know, we could push that further. If those kind of games, you could probably get away with 30 FPS, you know, and then we could have got even more battery life again. It's phenomenal. It's mad. And the sheer fact that you can adjust all that stuff is so good. And it's interesting. I was talking to Pete, who we work with. He was like, what? Tell me about the Steam Deck then. Do I need to know loads of stuff? It's like for like PC geeks and stuff. It's like, it's interesting that it has that stigma attached to it still, because it comes from that kind of Steam library. Yeah. It's associated to PC gamers. And yes, that is the ultimate way to experience any game. Yeah. But
there's always that kind of stigma attached to it. Like, this is going to be heavy lifting. I need to know what I'm doing. I need to be able to tinker.
Yeah.
There's occasionally you need to lift the hood of your PC and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. And deal with drivers and all that rubbish.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the Steam Deck has that stigma attached to it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like, once and for all, to put it out there, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Even what Andy's talking about now about changing the frame rate of the refresh rate of the display, dropping the wattage to get extended battery life. It's literally one button and you're in a menu, and it's not hidden behind jargon or anything. No, it's just there. You can just change it.
Yep.
It's very simple. Most of the things, 99% of what you need to do to play this every day, you don't need to even look at that.
No.
And that 1% is there for the people that do want to lift under the hood that have come from that background.
Yes.
They maybe want to put one line of code into the console that they've copied off the internet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's there. It's available to do it. But being able to tinker, you don't need to be a PC nerd for this.
And it loads into basically a console experience.
Yes.
You're not like the Asus ROG Ally and the Lenovo Legion Go and all those other. Yeah, it is Windows, and you literally have to deny like Microsoft Office and all this rubbish, like, because it's a PC on a tiny screen. This isn't that. You don't have to deal with all that rubbish. This loads into Steam's big picture mode, which is like an Xbox layout or a PlayStation home.
If you come from any of those user experiences, you'll be at home.
Thing, and you don't need to like force that open or anything like that. It loads into that. Yes, there is a desktop mode which you get to by like holding the power button, and instead of going to shutdown, you enter desktop. Then it's a PC, but a Linux-based one. But you could literally never need to use that. You could give this to a 10-year-old,
yes,
and they would be away you go. You know, providing they're buying games that are verified or playable, then you're fine. You know, you're ready to go. And it is the most console-like experience.
That's a great way of putting it. It is a console-like experience for, well, probably less than most consoles.
Yeah.
Incredible performance. It just looks gorgeous.
It really does, yeah.
And you have, without even having to do any lifting, you've got access to the full Steam library. Obviously, not every game is going to be compatible, but most of them seem to be.
Yeah.
And like you say, the sales and stuff they have on there, £1.70 for Star Wars Squadron. It's like, oh, all right then.
It's ridiculous.
Spend more than that parking the car. It's like,
exactly, yeah.
It's incredible what you now have access to.
Yeah.
Now, if you're willing to tinker around a little bit, you then have access to something that really made me go, I really should get one.
What was that?
That's Xbox.
Game Pass. Yes, I'd set Game Pass up on here.
How hard was it to set up?
Probably took me 15 minutes. Really easy. You download Internet Explorer. You copy one bit of text into the properties of that, and one bit of text into the console, which is like run if you're on PC, into the command prompt, basically. And then all you need to do is drag and drop some images of, what you want it to look like on your homepage, and that's it. Then you load it up, and you just log in.
Log into your Game Pass
account.
And
that's it. And it even loads up if I just, go onto the screen. There you go. So it's just there. So if I open it, I've just got Game Pass there. And if I open it again, I'm going to load up.
That's ridiculous.
And there we go. Now I can just choose any game on Game Pass Ultimate to just go and play. So Forza. Yeah.
Said something. I didn't read what it said.
No, I've no idea.
Just press continue anyway.
But
if I break your Steam Deck, I'm sorry.
No, but it's just like that. It's just like playing on a PC now. And again, it's still that console experience.
Yeah.
Because Game Pass is still that like hub of games and whatever else.
My reason to go down the Game Pass part of this conversation is slightly loaded. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because this did launch at the same week as PlayStation Portal.
Man, that's so bad.
So, PlayStation Portal, £200.
200 quid.
Over Wi-Fi,
yes,
you can stream your PS5 if it's on.
Yes.
Important part of that is your PS5.
Yep.
Already own the PS5.
You've got to own the PS5.
If it's on.
Yep.
Mine is never just on.
No.
I don't know about anyone else.
No.
And if you leave it in rest mode,
Yes.
okay, sometimes I put it in rest mode if there's like a software update to do or something.
Yeah.
Quite often I'll come back and it's turned itself out of rest mode.
Yeah, it's just off.
Like it just happens. You're like, oh, it's turned itself off. Okay, I'll turn it back on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stay in rest mode. I can't imagine it's very healthy for the PlayStation to leave it
just
in rest
leave
mode.
it on, yeah.
Which would be like leaving your PC or your
Stop.
Mac on sleep mode the whole time.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which, yes, you can do if you're stupid.
Yeah. It's fine, but...
Yeah, but you're stupid.
Yeah. But why would you need to do that?
No.
And that's because it only plays games on that PlayStation. So if you're a physical collector like us, you can play one game away from the PlayStation.
Yeah, one game at a time.
And you can't stream from their servers.
I don't know how many times I have to bring up in this show, but it just is so monumentally retarded that they've not implemented that.
So stupid. Like, what
so
are they
stupid.
thinking?
They're not thinking. They're just milking their fan base. Unfortunately.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah.
As an aesthetic piece of gaming accessory, I look at it and go, that looks really cool.
Looks really nice. It'd be
really
nice
like to have one.
gathering dust on my shelf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't look very portable.
No, it doesn't even come with a case.
It looks like Bob Wolf did a great video on it.
Yes.
And he made a very good point. He said,
Yes.
have you ever put a controller in your bag?
Yep.
It's like hell.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
So now you've got a controller, two sides of a really flimsy, thin screen. And what, you're just going to stick that in your bag? No case for it?
Yep.
That's insane. Of course you're not going to do it. It's hell. So it's not particularly portable. So it really is just a portal for in your house if you don't have access to your PS5 right now.
Yes.
Combined cost, let's be conservative and say $600 dollars.
Yeah.
So you can play PlayStation games handheld that you already own.
Yes.
How much did you spend?
Was it $460 for the 512 gig OLED?
So you got an OLED panel.
Yeah. HDR.
Does this have Bluetooth?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
got
that's weird.
better Bluetooth now as well.
So that's got Bluetooth.
Yeah.
What's the Wi-Fi on this one?
Wi-Fi 6E, current standard.
So not Wi-Fi 5 like the portal.
No.
That's weird. So it's used the current generation.
Not too out of dates. Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why would they do that? And can this only stream games from your PC?
No, but it can do. And, and you can stream off the Game Cloud, Game Pass like this, and it can play its own games.
So I've got access to a games library, which is pretty much all the games.
Yep.
A lot of them are really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I can play Xbox games off the cloud service if you're a subscriber.
Yeah.
So streaming Xbox games.
Yeah.
I can stream games off my PC.
Yeah.
Wow. And I can play it with a beautiful OLED panel.
Yeah.
And if I really want to, I could dock it and put it through my TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can do that as well. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was cheaper.
Yeah. And it's actually a whole PC. So you could even work on it if you wanted to. You could hook that up to a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor.
Right.
And literally work on it if you really wanted to.
Can it play Spider-Man 2 though?
Yeah. Well, it can't actually. Currently.
No, it can't, not currently.
No. But yeah, it can if you have PS5 and Spider-Man 2. You can install Chiaki or whatever it's called and stream games from your PS5 to the Steam
You
Deck.
could remote play on
Yes.
this.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that. You can remote play your PS5 on the Steam Deck. Yes, it's absolutely possible.
That's done me in.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish I'd set that up now, but
Yeah.
I hadn't done it yet.
So I could use this as a PlayStation Portal.
Yeah.
And it's got a better Wi-Fi connection than the PlayStation Portal.
And a better screen. Yeah.
And a better screen.
Yeah. And it could do basically everything that can't.
Wow. So, I mean, PlayStation have done a good job though.
It
Looks
job.
nice.
Yeah, looks a good paperweight. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably the best way of connecting to your PlayStation 5 remotely.
Yeah.
If I was going to be objectively fair,
Yeah.
probably the best
It'll be
way.
the quickest way, surely, because you just turn it on and then it's there.
No, it still has to load. It still has to connect to your PlayStation.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you don't have to do any unnecessary steps, you know.
The first time you set it up, you do.
Oh.
First time you set it up, you have to install the PlayStation app, like you do if you're using the Backbone controller.
Oh, my days. Do you know what I did when I set that up?
Yeah.
I turned that on.
All right.
It then said, open your phone Steam app, which I already had installed.
Because you've got a Steam account.
Yes, exactly. And then I opened the QR button thing, scanned it, and it logged me in. Didn't have to turn, no passwords, nothing. It just logged me in. And then that was it. It took about 3 seconds. It was faster than the Nintendo Switch.
Amazing.
Like, it's much easier. It's just ridiculous.
I'd like to think that they've definitely done a slam dunk on handheld gaming, at least until the successor of the Switch comes out. But that takes a different part of the market.
Yeah. I think this plus the Switch, that's all you need. Do you know what I mean? Like that is it. Done. Like, really, that's all I would need myself.
And in that sentiment, I think it's 100% got the potential, and probably already has taken a chunk out of the I want to say serious, but that's kind of doing a disservice to Nintendo. But that side of the console market, the Xbox and the PlayStation side, I think it's definitely taken a chunk. Yeah, certainly out of PlayStation. Yeah, I think Microsoft are probably quite embracing of this.
Yes, yeah. I know they love the Windows-based ones, obviously, because it's Microsoft.
Yes,
they are Windows, and with those devices like the Asus ROG Ally and stuff, you can natively download the games and run them on the device. As opposed to right now, because this is Linux, I'm having to stream this. Yeah. So like Forza there, they're loaded up. I'm streaming that, not playing it natively. So I need an internet connection. However, the ROG Ally or the Legion Go, you could actually download the games off of Game Pass and run
that's
them
interesting
themselves. So that's the only thing I wish this could do.
Yeah.
But to be honest, the compromise of, I can stream the games, fine with that.
And to test that, I've not done any streaming of a game since PlayStation Now was a thing.
Yeah.
And it was okay then. To be fair, I was trying to stream some first-person shooter games.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
Yes.
It's tough. Because obviously it is having to send the video feed down and my controls back up. So there's
latency.
Yeah, round-trip latency, it's why the Google Stadia flopped, amongst other reasons.
You press it, go make a cup of tea, and then you've done your punch on Street Fighter.
So I was streaming Forza, which I thought was actually going to be... I picked on purpose because A, I quite like driving games, and B, it's quite good to see because it's a fast game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Amazing, wasn't it?
Just awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah. I think I'm streaming that, cloud streaming that.
It didn't feel like it though, did it? I mean,
at all.
There was like one hiccup at one point where the internet just went for a second.
And to be fair though, we're in a really big studio building.
Yes.
I don't have Wi-Fi 6 set up here yet. I do have I've got Wi-Fi 6 mesh in a box.
Yes. Yeah, that's not up yet.
But one day I'll ask Andy to set up for me.
Just waiting for it to happen. I recommended that to you.
For like a year.
I was going to say.
It's still in the box.
I was like, AJ, buy this. You're like, I bought it. And it's still not out of the box.
No, it's not. It's the complete package.
It really is.
If you're on the fence about it, just don't get off the fence and get on it.
Yes. And that Wi-Fi 6E capability is incredible. The download speeds are so much faster.
It's unreal.
And if you are using one of these and you've got the OLED and you're having issues with the download speeds, just Google it. You can go into developer mode and turn off like powered Wi-Fi delivery or something like that. Okay. And that basically, it even says in the Steam Deck, this can cause, having this enabled, which it is by default, can have some issues with 5G networks. So just disable that, and then your internet speed will go back up. I'm waiting to install our Wi-Fi 6E router because I can't wait to try the capabilities of that.
Yeah.
But and that latency thing we were just talking about, the 90 hertz screen and everything, the latency reduction is huge compared to the LCD model.
Yeah.
Like it's way less of a delay between the time that you press the button and the action happening, and it is noticeable. I don't know if you noticed it when we were playing all those games earlier, but you press a button and it happens.
I'll be honest, I didn't actively notice it, but much like all of the great incremental steps in gaming, you shouldn't notice the difference. You notice it when it fails.
Yes, yeah.
So it's about being immersed. So we talk about playing that Star Wars Squadron game. It's the first thing we did.
Yeah.
The immersion was absolute.
Yes, because everything was working
so well.
Yeah, definitely.
If there was, I don't know, if frame rate started dropping, or if there was like some input delay or some lag of some kind,
then
it would pull you out.
Yes, absolutely. And it just sucks you in, doesn't it? Yeah. Even playing like what I love about the Steam Deck, I'm just going to ramble a bit, is because I'm a PC gamer And if you are out there and you've had a Steam account for however many years and you've got a huge backlog of games that you never get around to on the actual PC, just buy one of these.
Yeah.
I play this far more than I ever play my PC. My gaming PC is literally gathering dust because I just use this. And I've got nearly 200-300 games that have accumulated that I can just load up. Like Lost Planet on this, phenomenal. Capcom game from 2006. Says it's unsupported.
It's what I do love about it.
Yeah.
It's that kind of living archive.
Yes. Yeah,
and you're like,
absolutely.
I do remember that game. That was cool. Oh, I can play it.
Yeah. And even with that game in particular, it says unsupported, like untested.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm just going to try it.
Yeah.
You know,
What's the worst thing? It's
let's
going to crash.
And it just booted up and worked for first time.
Yeah.
90 FPS, you know. I could probably tweak it, you know, because when there's loads of enemies on the screen, it drops a little bit.
Yeah, there's some processing problems there, wasn't there? I think that was more on the game end, to be fair.
Probably. It's an old game.
Yeah.
So, but it loads up, says, oh, you're using Xbox 360 controller. I didn't have to remap anything. I just jumped in the game. And I was like, this game is so good. I loved Lost Planet 1. And it just works. And that game's got HDR in 2006.
What was that?
Like, what? So
Where did that come from?
Yeah, but it looks great, doesn't it? And it
does.
ran really
Yeah.
good. The controls were brilliant. I did remap some stuff to the back paddles, but I didn't have to. You know, it's just for my preference. And that is the thing for me.
Yeah.
Is being able to play AAA games if you really want to. But you've also then got that huge catalogue of older titles that this is going to annihilate. And, you know, if you're, like I was saying, if you have a Steam library at all, this is almost a must-buy, you know.
I think so. I think what I really love about it is that it's the perfect crossover of PC gaming and console gaming.
Absolutely, yes.
It really bridges that divide perfectly.
Yes.
If he wants some of the advantages of PC gaming and particularly like access to the Steam library, but you don't want the headaches that necessarily come with PC gaming. This is the answer.
This is for everyone. This is for the absolute noobs that have no idea about PC at all. This is your first port of entry.
Yeah.
You know, no headaches. Just go in, start playing, have fun. No faffing. But at the other end, if you're an absolute tinkerer, this is it as well, because you can do all of that and more, you know? So it really spans everyone. It's not like, oh, you should get a Switch, you should get, you know, a random Air, Neo, whatever.
Yeah.
This is like bang on in the middle, does everything, you know? And honestly, I think it's my favorite ever handheld now.
And finally, you did one really important consumer test for everyone out there, which I think was really kind of you.
Yes, yeah, I did a drop test.
Drop test it day one, tested it.
Yeah.
Just to see how strong the screen
It was, yeah.
It's relatively kind of you just to drop test it straight away.
I did a whole section about drop test in the video that I launched recently about this.
Oh, really?
And, you know, I deleted it because there was just me rambling about how I dropped the Steam Deck.
The trauma was still
Yeah,
real.
it was about 5 minutes. And so I went, no, I'm going to delete that out of the video. So that went. But yeah, I had it on the side of the sofa.
Stupid.
Bearing in mind, I've got a Doberman puppy who runs around like a freaking bullet train. And I had this on the arm of the sofa. He was fine. He doesn't touch my stuff. Like, he sees my phone. He's like, yeah, fine. He tried to lick the deck. You know, he went, oh, what's that? You know, he gave the controller a lick on the side. I was like, that's all right. At least he's not trying to bite it. And I left it on the side of the armchair. I stood up and my hoodie caught the corner of it. And I just heard, oh. And I was like, oh, please that be my phone. Like, I don't care about that. Yeah. And I looked on the floor and that was face down on the floor. And I was like, oh, no. Like, I've had it like 2 days. Like, come on. Like, luckily I turned it around. Screen seems fine. Sticks, I held it up to make sure the sticks hadn't like cracked or something, you know, and were like out of sync. They were fine. Luckily, these days, everything's solid state. Yeah. So it's not hard disk drives. You know, if you drop the original PSP,
the spinning
discs or anything like that, that would have sucked. But yeah, it seems fine. So drop test, and I didn't have a case on it at that point.
That's great.
So it was just completely bare. No, I'm lying. I had this Skull & Co case, which I suppose gives a little bit
maybe.
You know, shock absorbent, but it did full screen first.
I mean, props to the Skull & Co case because it does.
It's amazing.
Double as a stand as well, with nothing on the back of
This is so good. Like, it really is good. Really easy to get in and out. It does not hinder the triggers and bumpers at all whatsoever.
I've got a sneaking suspicion that it might make another entry into an upcoming 5 things to buy for your new Steam Deck OLED.
Yes. And it has a stand built in. And what I really love, is it fits the official case.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So the case that comes with the Steam Deck, you can put this on and not need to remove it.
Yeah.
It just stays on. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled for you.
I could go on. I could just talk about every game I've played so far, but no, I'm not going to.
Well, just all of them.
Just
in
every,
lists.
every game.
No, I genuinely am thrilled for you. If you're on, like I said before, if you're on the fence, honestly, when you see it in the flesh, it will change your mind.
Absolutely.
It's unreal how good it looks. Really is.
Oh, and the last thing, don't bother with the 1 terabyte models. I'm not just saying that because the limited edition's not available over here in the UK.
But partly because of that.
Partly because of that, because I really wanted that model. Like the transparent one, I would have loved to have. I would have bought that. But I didn't. Get the 512 because you can then buy an external hard drive and upgrade it. And you can just buy an extra glass screen protector if you want to, for less than the cost of a 1 terabyte. So I've bought already, it's not here yet, it's coming, but I've bought a 2 terabyte drive.
2 terabytes.
2 terabyte.
Wow.
And the X-Glass screen protector for £10 more than it would have cost me to buy the 1 terabyte model.
And you got double storage and the option of glass.
And the option, and a Samsung panel rather than this weird BOE rubbish.
Yeah, so that's good advice actually. 512 is probably the sweet one to go for.
Yeah.
The sweet spot.
Absolutely.
Well, if you got to the deep end with us,
thank you.
It's just us talking about how amazing this thing is.
Yes.
It's quite a good episode, really. It's
great.
Positive.
It's good.
Makes a change. We're not moaning about something.
Oh, no, we did. We still snuck in the PS Portal.
We found a way of shitting on the portal still.
Yes.
If you listen to us on any of the podcasting platforms, please do rate the show.
Do it.
Really does help us out. If you're on YouTube, you know what to do because the buttons are right below.
Yes.
The big red ones.
Do it.
Sometimes they're grey.
Tell me if I look like Leon Kennedy or not.
Yeah, in the comments, let us know how much Andy looks like Leon today.
Leon, help!
What am I?
What, the merchant?
No, the girl.
Ashley. Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah.
You pervert.
That's it, yeah.
If you want to see more of this madness, there'll be a video in between our faces.
Yes. Watch these videos.
So click on one of those. And until the next time, we'll see you next time.
Bye.